folks. Now today I want to talk to you about clearing your desk before you start filming. Hi folks, today I want to talk to you about the 4 camera lines that I think Sony are really overdue to update and why I really hope that they're going to do it sometime soon. Now, to be clear from the outset, this is not a takedown video of Sony. I was actually going through my Sony setup guide thinking about what I can add to it when I started to think about the gaps in their market. And if anything, if you wanted to call it a criticism, you could, but an observation would be that Sony's in so many different verticals. They have so many different camera lines out there beyond their other technologies and product lines, and they update them so frequently, it's mind-boggling and dizzying as a consumer, let alone as a reviewer, trying to keep up with what's out where and which one's going to best meet your needs. But I have to say they do a really good job of segmenting things out to make you want more than one. Now, the reason that I hope, despite them having so many different successful camera lines out there, and I've used and am impressed by just about all of them, is that whatever you think of using Sony cameras, like I respect their technological innovations and all the things that they've managed to pioneer in the industry, and I really appreciate what they do to keep the other manufacturers on their toes. I mean, Canon and Nikon probably would have waited another 5 years later than they did if it weren't for Sony driving the full-frame mirrorless market forward, let alone the autofocus and let alone frames per second and Sony's sensor division. The list goes on and on. So there's lots of reasons why I hope that they will keep bringing out products in these different lines, and it just keeps the whole ecosystem healthy to have someone out there innovating and kind of pushing the envelope a little bit. But there's 4 lines in particular that, one, I think they had great products, but they're just overdue for an update. And 2, the whole segment would be better served if they were in it, and it's overdue. So in this, I'm going to go through the 4 different cameras, specifically the lines. I'm going to do it in reverse order of how overdue and how important I think they are, and work their way up to the most overdue and the most important ones. Number 4 on the list is the RX100 range. Now, it should go without saying that not all of these lines are things that I think everyone needs to have a camera from this segment. Certainly not, but they are popular segments and ones that I think are better with Sony in them. Now, the RX100 range are great cameras. They're one of the few truly pocketable ones. Like Canon have ones out there. There are actually the one that's just gone TikTok viral that I picked one up for Johanna recently. They are quite pocketable, but the Sony ones have great battery life, great image quality, all of the great technologies that Sony has been pioneering, up to the 7, which now has like a 24 to 200 times zoom that's still pocketable. My personal preference, I actually prefer the earlier version that was, I think, maxed out at 120mm on the long end, but gave you a much faster aperture. I took one of those along for my dad when we did Route 66 together. I was shooting with a pair of Leicas, he took that one along, and for him, the zoom worked out really well because he was less mobile at that time. And was able to get all kinds of shots, the really fast, snappy autofocus. It's not just, for sports. If you're on a road trip and then you see something and you may be driving past, or, to have something that can just quickly lock on and grab it, it is really good. And I do think there's still a market for that, despite the new phones having such great cameras built into them now and all of the software that kind of makes it a bit artificial, or more artificial, video coming on AI soon too. But having that optical zoom and the higher quality video formats, although the phones are competing there now too, I do actually think that there's a really great market there. The 7 of the RX100 range was released in 2019, so we're talking 5 years now, and in Sony terms, that might as well be 15 years because they tend to update things every 18 months to 2 years. So 5 years, I really hope they're going to update that one soon. Next up is this little guy. These are the RX0 cameras. Now, the latest one was the RX02, which this one is. There's a lot to like about these. I really love the look of them. I like that they have the tilty screen that was out before anyone else was doing that. It's got a fantastic sensor, fantastic optics. It's an f4 24mm. It's got all of their coatings in there. It's got pretty good autofocus. I have to say though, this thing for me was buggy as hell. I've been testing out all different action cameras for probably a decade. I've gotten in all kinds of cheapo ones like Mihos, and I currently have the GoPro 12. I'm ordering the DJI Osmo Pro Action, mouthful of a title, but epic camera. I use them a lot. They're great for getting on top of the camera point of view, or when I'm making a course, to stick one up in the corner of the room so that if I happen to block 2 or 3 of the cameras that we're filming the action with, that we have a bird's eye view that can still keep the audience immersed in the moment. So I would love to have one that has a much better optical image quality, but I just found this one to be so buggy. It sits in the cupboard and we don't use it anymore. I would say 9 out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10 of the last times I used it on courses, I would have, say, 2 GoPros and this, or this, a GoPro and something else, getting different angles. And every time during the day, this guy, either the battery would run out 3 or 4 times faster than the GoPro, or it would lock focus somewhere really close and then the whole shot was unusable, or it would just turn itself off despite having battery and card and the latest firmware. So this was also released in 2019. There's definitely, I think the biggest thing they want is more stable software and a much higher capacity battery, or more energy efficiency to get the most out of that battery. But this is one that I think the market needs a high image quality competitor. We've got the Action Pro 5, whatever, is a great action camera, but having something with the better optical image quality, I think would help the whole market, and I would love to see them push that forward. Next up is the A7S line. Now, I know for a lot of people, the S line was about movie making, right? That the A7S and then the 2 and then the 3 all had the best video performance basically. And now you've got things like the A1 and the A9 III and then the FX range that have, you know, Netflix quality video capabilities in that kind of a form factor, that the S in a way seems unnecessary. But let's just rewind and keep in mind that the S stands not for video, it's sensitivity. So well, you tell me what you think, but I still think there would be a place for a 12 megapixel 4K camera on the market that just has unbelievable low light performance, that you can shoot at crazy high ISOs using available light and get a beautiful clean image. The A7S III was released in 2020, so again, that's 4 years, that's a couple of generations of sensor technology, that if Sony's sensor division are working on a really low light monster, we could see, you know, another stop or two of performance out of the A7S, on top of the A7S III, could yield really something spectacular. So personally, I would still like to see the S line updated. I saw that about a month ago, Sony Alpha Rumors reported that they have no news in that space. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but let me know. What do you think? Is there still a space in the market for a low res, high sensitivity camera in 2024/5? And the last one, and this is a bit of a contentious one, but I think that this is maybe the most overdue and the biggest market opportunity, and it's the RX1R range. Now, this is their kind of competitor to things like, to an extent, the Fuji X100, more so the Leica Q3 range, or the Leica Q range. The RX1R Mark II was released back in 2015, so 9 years ago. It's hard to believe it's been that long. I tested that out at the time against the Leica Q2, and I thought, except for the prestige factor of Leica and some, you know, the user interface for that kind of a camera, if you're paying a premium to get an all-in-one compact, I think having the kind of more luxury experience the Leica gives, not in terms of the badge has prestige. I mean, it doesn't have 35 different buttons on it. Having it be really streamlined and beautiful, there is an advantage, and I think that's why Leica has done really well in that range. But the Sony, the image quality was always outstanding. If it brings in the software and the focusing capabilities from any of their alpha cameras, it's going to leave the Leica behind in so many regards. Sony have access to so many of the best sensors. They make great glass, and they can bring it in a few $1,000s cheaper. Leica have demonstrated that there's an appetite for more in the market, having just brought out the 43mm Leica Q. I really think if they were to come out with one, forget about going retro to compete with the X100, forget about going, you know, super premium or luxury to compete directly with the Leica Q, but just bring it out, have it be stable, have it be probably the same sensor from the latest R range of cameras, give it great battery life, stable software, and maybe just a more refined interface, fewer buttons. I really think that that can, one, shake up the segment and keep, you know, Fuji artificially limiting supply of the cameras to keep up demand. Leica may be doing that, but also charging, you know, $5,000 or $6,000 for these cameras and still having a wait list. There is appetite for this kind of a camera. I'd be really interested to see what they could do. Maybe they could take up the slack left by the Zeiss all-in-one that they were coming out with that I never saw in the wild, that was meant to have just a giant touchscreen on the back and an SSD built in. That could be a real opportunity for Sony to maybe put a terabyte SSD and make the whole rear interface be one gigantic touchscreen. That could be something pretty cool, I reckon. What do you think of those guys? Is there anything that I've missed? What other cameras from Sony are we waiting for an update? And out of those four, which do you think is the main priority? If you haven't already, please do check out the 5-day deal. It's a great win-win-win. You get a great deal with 95% or more off a bunch of courses, including those ones from Steph and I. You also get the bonus art tape shoot. You'll be helping out charities that are doing great work around the world for kids and hunger, and us creators also get a cut. So please check it out. It ends in just a couple of days. Let's all come together and make a difference this one time of the year. Let me know any questions or thoughts that you have on this video. I'll see you guys soon.